What up, everybody? Power Book 2 Ghost Season 4, Episode 5. Dru reunited with Monet to help her get a hold of some product, forgiving her and moving back into his room at her house after Monet apologized and admitted that she was wrong and she put the game over everything. Ironically enough, at the same time, Monet is trying to win forgiveness with Dru and get back on his good side when he is the one who set her up to be shot in the first place. But after seeing what Monet put Dru through as a child, then with the Lorenzo and Gordo situation in Season 3, she did owe Dru an apology at the same time. So Dru told Monet about a lick they could hit, and it was his old route for when he worked for Noma. So they got a hold of a couple guys who wanted to be down with the Tejadas and robbed one of Noma's shipments. The robbery was a success, but the aftermath wasn't, because Monet was followed by Don Carter to the spot. And this is a common mistake I've seen made in the Power universe, not paying attention to your surroundings and letting someone follow you. In the game, you gotta have eyes in every direction, and no one should be able to follow you without you picking up on it. This was something that Mecha tried teaching Kane and told him about at least twice. So obviously this is a weakness of the Tejadas, because this is also how Gordo caught Lorenzo slipping. And this cost Monet, leaving her and Dru exposed to Carter and his crew, having to now pay them a 35% tax on everything they make. And Dru told Monet that he was going to help her pull this one lick. Then after getting his cut, he was going to get out the life so he could focus on his art. This is after he went to an art gallery earlier in the episode and found out about an independent showcase. But Dru will likely now be forced to stay in the game because the fact that Monet is being extorted by Carter, and he's going to be expecting Dru to help Monet come up with his cut. So it will only be a matter of time until Kane finds out that Monet and Dru are back in business. And at the end of episode 5, Noma hadn't even found out about the robbery yet. She was too busy with Kane taking care of Zion that the next night when the robbery went down, she was busy giving it up to Davis. But because of what went down that night with Zion and Kane, Noma will most likely think that Zion had something to do with the robbery, possibly escalating a war with him as well, especially if she does something retaliatory before she finds out the truth. But once Kane finds out about the robbery, he might also think it was Zion. But as soon as he finds out that Monet and Dru are back in business, he's going to easily put 2 and 2 together and know what really happened. Just like in Season 3, when he knew the truth that Lorenzo killed Zeke, and instead of telling Monet, he blackmailed Lorenzo for control over the family. But this time he has no reason to side with Dru and Monet and let Zion take the fall, unless he simply doesn't want Noma knowing the truth because he doesn't want to be told to take out his own family. Because if Noma found out the truth, this would definitely be something she would ask Kane to do, similar to how Lobos was trying to force Tommy to take out Ghost in Power. But Tommy was never able to take out Ghost, even with all of Lobos' threats. At the same time, neither Kane or Dru hustle like Tariq and Braden, coming up with creative ways to move their product. They handle business the old-fashioned way in the streets. So with that said, at the same time, they will also most likely be bumping heads over territory and clientele. And another way that Kane will know that it was Monet and Dru who stole the product from Noma is the fact they will be able to undercut him with the price, at least off the first batch that they stole until they get a plug. Because the fact it's all profit, even with the fact they have to give Carter his cut. Still, they started out with nothing, now they got a whole shipment to work with. This potential war between Noma and Kane and Dru and Monet could also take some of the heat and attention off of Tariq from Noma and Kane. This, and because Noma doesn't want to touch him right now because of Anya, will give Noma and Kane a more immediate distraction to focus on. Also creating a huge conflict with Kane because unlike Dru and Diana, who despise being forced into the game, Kane embraced the life and even told Dru and Diana at the end of Season 3, when they were feeling away about Monet, he told them drug dealing is the family business. Kane was raised as a soldier in the Tejada family and acted as the family muscle from the time Lorenzo went to prison. We don't know how many bodies Kane caught prior to the show, But the very first episode showed what Kane was all about when he took out Rel. But the thing is, Monet was by his side the whole time. First at the house, when Rel was going to be back, she told Kane he knew what to do. Then after he killed Rel, Monet was in the car waiting for him and even wiped the blood off of his face, showcasing the crazy mother-son dynamic between Kane and Monet. Kane demonstrated his loyalty to Monet again when Lil Guap was about to call Monet a bitch. And before he could get the word out his mouth, Kane was beating him down. As they walked away, Monet was telling Kane about how he beat the brakes off of Lil Guap, and Kane's reply was, "That's what you wanted me to do, right?" And Kane's loyalty to Monet has remained throughout the series all the way to episode 4 when he had hunted Dru all episode for getting Monet shot. And he was so happy at the bodega when he found Dru, telling Monet, "You won't believe who I have standing right here in front of me." Thinking he finally did something to make Monet proud, only to be told not to kill Dru. But I asked the question, if the roles were reversed and it was Kane who got Monet shot and Dru holding the gun to Kane, would Monet still give Kane a pass like she did for Dru? Personally, I don't think so. Because before she found out who was behind the shooting, keep in mind, the first person to come to her mind was Kane. Almost like she subconsciously wanted it to be Kane so she could have a reason to take him out. Going all the way back to season 1. Again, when Kane put the hit out on Tariq, Monet kicked Kane out the house. And then after Dru got shot, she didn't want anything to do with Kane. And he tried telling her, "I'm your son too." Then he told her, "You made me this way, Ma." Keeping in mind that both Lorenzo and Monet called Kane their soldier. And at one point, Kane asked Monet, "Am I your soldier or your son?" And Monet said that he was both. So either though Kane was the most loyal Tejada to the family, and like Dru said, a mama's boy, he was still the black sheep, as both of his parents preferred Dru and Diana over him. So just like Tariq finds himself at a crossroads at the mid-season break after Diana said she wants everyone around her son to be clean, Kane also finds himself at a crossroads, deciding to stick to the family code he was taught, family first, or realizing it was all a facade and stepping into becoming his own man and going against his own family in the process. In this war, I think there will be some bloodshed, but mostly war with the soldiers being killed over territory or more robberies, and not actually any of the main characters, at least not until closer to the end. But at the end, this war could result in the death of another Tejada. Because if Monet goes down at the end of book 2, I can definitely see it being at the hands of Kane. Almost like she created a monster type thing. Especially because of the love that Kane has for Monet. And that could turn into hate when he starts thinking about the rejection and how she constantly chooses Dru over him. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.